Welcome, 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 welcome.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome
Back.
Welcome to the Revolutionary Baddies podcast.
Yes.
Thank you so much for all of your support. I feel like I just have to say it at the top of every single episode.
It's for the people, so we got to thank the people.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
We are growing the Revolutionary Baddies podcast, which is very exciting.
Absolutely.
Very exciting. It's like our baby. And our baby is like not even 3 months old. We have today, literally the day that we're recording this episode, hit 750 downloads.
Mm-hmm.
What?
The podcast is like my child. I used to say, that baby's advanced. Anything she did at like 2 months old, rolling over, I'm like, the baby's advanced. And she truly is and became that.
Yeah.
But the podcast, it's advanced.
Yeah.
Because the message is.
She about to start walking.
Take off.
No, really. Just thank you to all of our friends, family, people that we bump into on the streets for all of your support.
And the strangers, like we can see what states and what countries people are listening from, and the fact that we have somebody across the pond listening to us.
Just even if it's one person.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
We hope you're connecting. So here we are at episode 10.
We're at episode 10. And we want to be able to continue our growth.
Yes.
Firstly, again, our podcast is available on all of the podcast apps. The main ones, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music. And we're also on YouTube. Every single episode also drops on YouTube along with videos of us. So if you want to hear me and Brittany's story of how we've been radicalized, our intro to the entire podcast is also on YouTube. And we have a Patreon for our podcast. You can find it. It's on patreon.com/revolutionarybaddies. That is how you can continue to support our podcast existing and growing. Me and Brittany are doing this out of the love that we have for the people and for just our overall passion for history, Black history, and making sense of it today. And our membership starts at just $3 a month. And if you subscribe to be a member of our Patreon community, your contribution will go directly to our administrative costs. There's a lot of subscriptions that we have to pay for, and we have some really exciting things coming up. And we will let you all know in our next episode about that, because we just want to make sure the timing is right.
Yes, but we have big news. So
big.
You should definitely be following us on social media. We'll likely announce it, of course, there first, and then in next week's episode we will have more details about it. But it's locked in.
It's locked in.
And it's big.
Yeah.
Our baby is going to go from a baby to a toddler.
Yeah. I'm scared, but excited.
Yes.
So please consider subscribing to our Patreon. We would love your support.
Absolutely. And speaking of support, that ties perfectly into what today's episode is about.
Literally.
We are talking about the infamous Black Panther Party, and specifically their 10-point program, aka their outline of what they wanted to do as an organization.
Yeah.
And we'll get into specifically what survival programs came out of that 10-point program. So it's for the people, by the people, for the people.
All power to the people.
All power to the people. I mean, I'm surprised that we've made it to episode 10 without specifically dedicating an episode to the Black Panther Party.
I know.
Because they are the most known revolutionary party in America.
In this country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And probably one of the most influential
1000%.
organizations of any liberation organization.
They are the images that we have in our mind
Mm-hmm.
when we think about the 60s and 70s and the fight for Black liberation.
Yeah.
And and right now you can't escape even just seeing their clothing lines that carry the logo of the Black Panther Party.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, the style that they had is so much.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are kind of caught up on some of the aesthetics of the party or the general knowledge and really don't take the time to learn about their 10-point program and how revolutionary and influential it was.
Yeah. Especially at that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we get there,
Yeah.
Brittany, how you been? What's
Fabulous.
been going on?
Living better now. Coochie sweater now. Something.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why I started it not knowing it like that. If the song was playing, I would know it. Once again, just continuing the summer. It's been a good summer so far, just in general. And then all of the exciting plans that the Revolutionary Baddies are working on. I am excited.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling really good.
Love that.
Got a little tan yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the streets a little bit. I've been able to hit the streets for my parents out there. You know how rare and important that is to our mental health. So even if I get out one day, a few hours, I'm great.
Yeah. That's good.
I'm feeling good. And as you know, it's Mercury retrograde. So I'm also shutting my mouth.
Yeah.
I thought about addressing something today. I said, no, sir. Shut your mouth before I end up back in trouble.
Yeah, just hold on.
Yeah. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Today, this morning, I played pickleball.
Of course. Let me tell y'all, Dee Dee is the side quest queen. And we, as I mentioned before, we live in the same neighborhood. So I can see her parking lot from my building. And sometimes I come out for work in the morning, Dee Dee's gone. I'm like, damn, what would she be doing at 8:00?
I'm probably like
yoga.
Yeah.
Something.
I'm one of them girlies. I just got into pickleball though, like a couple of weeks ago. I did play tennis in college, and after that, I didn't play for a really long time, and like maybe since the pandemic, got back into tennis. And then I have a homie, he was like, well, you should try playing pickleball. And at first I was like, that ain't real. Like, it's just some like...
Now, what is it?
An easy form of tennis. And it's a lot of older white people generally that play pickleball. So I was like not really into it. And we went and played, and I actually really had fun.
I will say, so Dee Dee is a jock, right? So it like makes perfect sense. I am one of the least athletic people you will ever meet in your life. But I will say, and in high school, I used to get in trouble in PE because I refused to participate in a lot of activities because I'm just a girl.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it. I'm like, sweat. Put on this dirty penny to play, the little vest. Play basketball. I'm not doing that. But I will say tennis was the one activity that I actually really got into and enjoyed. Wow. And then I ended up getting kicked off the tennis court for cussing. And I really looked at my PE teacher and I'm like, now you see me finally taking initiative. And this is how you respond. And I was only cussing because like normal sportsmanship, like, damn, something like that. And she was like, you're out of here. And I'm like, see, discouragement.
Right.
Now I'm done. Because I was just getting into it. But I did enjoy tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
It's fun. So
what's the key difference between tennis and...
Everything is lighter. So the racket itself is lighter.
And it's not a tennis ball, I'm guessing.
It's not a tennis ball, which is, it requires more power to get farther. It's a waffle ball that's like plastic and light.
Gotcha.
And you don't have to run as much. you do have to do, some running. And the court is smaller. So the actual parameters, like the field, is literally smaller. So it is easier, and it has a lot of the same benefits in terms of like hand-eye coordination, your feet constantly being in motion, but it's not as strenuous on the body as tennis can be.
Now, what was it that Forrest Gump was playing? What's that?
I thought it was table tennis.
What's it called, right? It's called something else, I feel like. Ping pong.
Oh, ping pong ball, yeah. I think it was called ping pong
I feel like I could freak that.
Okay.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Probably not.
It's fun.
I would give it a try.
I know you would.
I would lose my ankle out on a tennis court or a pickleball court.
No,
my ankle would just disappear. No lie.
But I'm getting into a new sport, so that's fun. And it's one of those, like tennis, you gotta like schedule to play with somebody. Pickleball, you can literally just jump in because people will sub in and out.
Oh.
Yeah. So I just literally went there by myself with a paddle. I didn't even have a ball. And then eventually I was playing with like 5 other people.
Of course. That would happen anyway. Because Dee Dee is going to make them connections.
But it was interesting because there was these 2 sisters that they looked like they were around my age. They said they work at Duke Hospital, and they were asking me, like, what do I do? So I was like, well, I'm like an independent contractor and I have a podcast. So they were really excited about that. They were like, oh, what's your podcast? And I was like, Revolutionary Baddies. They were like, okay. Because the name is really it really sets the tone.
It does.
They asked what it was about. I was like, we're talking about history and Black history and how it relates to now. And they were just like, yeah, we definitely need that. Like, that's so great that y'all are talking about that. Like, it feels like we're going backwards. And these were like 2 like random, I don't know, Filipino looking girls. But I didn't even say anything about my politics. I just said that we talked about history, and they were like, yes. They
assumed. Yeah. And probably correctly, yeah.
As you should.
Because what else would I be on?
Hello? What?
I ain't Condoleezza now.
No, not at all. So that was my morning.
Well, I did promote Revolutionary Baddies today because one of my old friends, quote unquote, popped up at my job today. As he will do sometimes. Yeah. And I hadn't seen him in a while because, once again, he's an old friend, quote unquote. And I blocked him on Twitter for talking about Adam and Eve.
Oh,
So, once you don't communicate with people on social media, it's almost like you don't see them. So he was like, I don't know how you been and everything. I was like, I got a podcast now. He was like, really? And I'm like, you of all people need to listen to this motherfucker. I grabbed his phone. I said, what you got Apple? Let me type it in.
Yeah.
So I hope he's locked in too. He said he was going to support, as he should.
As he should.
And I might unblock him.
Maybe.
We'll
see.
I just told him, I said, don't be talking about that shit no more. Because that pissed me off.
Clearly.
It did. I told him, take it down. He was like, I ain't taking that down. Blocked.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Look, blocking my toe suckers. Damn. He won't suck in my toes no more by the time he got blocked. That's part of the reason. No. I'm kidding. Kidding. And here we are.
The toes have been popular.
Look.
But I'm a keep us focused. Yes. Episode 10, we really wanted to hone in on the Black Panther Party for self-defense and their 10-point program.
Yes. And we are going to read out the 10-point program. So buckle in.
Yeah.
Because not only a lot of people, and I'll bring up in a moment once we're done why I think it's so important that we're going to read not just the point, but pretty much the language under it. But a lot of people have not read the 10-point program in its entirety, just the bullet points of it. So we are going to read it all. And yeah, let's get into it.
Firstly, who is the Black Panther Party?
Oh, God. If you're listening and you don't know, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you should know. So the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense was founded in Oakland, California in 1966. Big years.
Yeah.
The 60s were. It was a significant decade.
Yeah.
By Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. And I believe they met in college. And they formed this party
on October 15th, which is also my birthday.
Oh, what? I think you did mention that to me recently.
Yeah, me and the Black Panther Party, we twins.
Okay. Greatness is born on October 15th. Remember that.
Me, Black Panther Party, Keisha Cole, Genuine.
I share my birthday with Tyler Perry.
Interesting.
Very. Okay. But
sorry.
So like I say, the Black Panther Party was something that came about to meet the needs of their community, and within a couple years they had dozens of chapters throughout the United States. And we'll get more into, how the chapters functioned, but they eventually pivoted from being the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, and they ended up dropping the self-defense part to more so bring attention back to their 10-point program and some of the other things that they were doing in their community.
Yeah. I think a big thing that I recently listened to today was that they really didn't want the narrative to be the Black Panther Party versus the police.
Right.
And that was also part of it, was that the narrative that was being shown in the media was that they were just anti everybody else, pro-Black, and
they wanted to engage in armed struggle.
They wanted to engage, like, that's all the story that was told about the Black Panther Party.
So yes, they at one point realized that they needed to pivot from that narrative and refocus the narrative on the core values of the party when they founded it. All right, so let's get into it. Number 1, we want freedom. We want power to determine the destiny of our Black community. We believe that Black people will not be free until we are able to determine our destiny.
Number 2, we want full employment of our people. We believe that the federal government is responsible and obligated to give every man employment or a guaranteed income. We believe that if the white American businessman will not give full employment, then the means of production should be taken from the businessman and placed in the community, so that the people of the community can organize and employ all of its people and give high standard of living.
Number 3, we want an end to the robbery by the capitalists of our Black community. We believe that this racist government has robbed us, and now we are demanding the overdue debt of 40 acres and 2 mules. 40 acres and 2 mules were promised 100 years ago as restitution for the slave labor and mass murder of Black people. We will accept the payment in currency, which will be distributed to our many communities. The Germans are now aiding the Jews in Israel for the genocide of the Jewish people. The Germans murdered 6 million Jews. The American racists have taken part in the slaughter of over 50 million Black people. Therefore, we feel that this is a modest demand that we make.
Number 4, we want decent housing fit for the shelter of human beings. We believe that if the white landlords will not give decent housing to our Black community, then the housing and the land should be made into cooperatives so that our community, with government aid, can build and make decent housing for its people.
Number 5, we want education for our people that exposes the true nature of this decadent American society. We want education that teaches us our true history and our role in the present day society. We believe in an educational system that will give to our people a knowledge of self, If a man does not have knowledge of himself and his position in society and the world, then he has little chance to relate to anything else.
Number 6, we want all Black men to be exempt from military service. We believe that Black people should not be forced to fight in the military service to defend a racist government that does not protect us. We will not fight and kill other people of color in the world who, like Black people, are being victimized by the white racist government of America. We will protect ourselves from the force and violence of the racist police and the racist military by whatever means necessary.
Number 7, we want an immediate end to police brutality and the murder of Black people. We believe we can end police brutality in our Black community by organizing Black self-defense groups that are dedicated to defending our Black community from racist police oppression and brutality. The Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States gives a right to bear arms. We, therefore, believe that all Black people should arm themselves for self-defense.
Number 8, we want freedom for all Black men held in federal, state, county, and city prisons and jails. We believe that all Black people should be released from the many jails and prisons because they have not received a fair and impartial trial.
Number 9, we want all Black people, when brought to trial, to be tried in a court by a jury of their peer group or people from their Black communities, as defined by the Constitution of the United States. We believe that the courts should follow the United States Constitution so that Black people will receive fair trials. The 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution gives a man a right to be tried by his peer group. A peer is a person from a similar economic, social, religious, geographical, environmental, historical, and racial background. To do this, the court will be forced to select a jury from the Black community from which the Black defendant came. We have been and we are being tried by all white juries that have no understanding of the average reasoning man of the Black community.
Number 10, we want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume, among the powers of the earth, the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitled them, a decent respect of the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute a new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form, as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light or transient causes, and accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security.
Ooh.
Ooh-wee.
Let me tell you. Y'all remember having to read aloud in class? It's intense.
It does.
It's a lot. But that is the 10-point program.
Mm-hmm.
When Dee Dee and I decided to do this topic, and we were like, all right, let's go over it. Let's read it. I literally was shook when I realized that the 10th point, because I had always seen we want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace, that they copied and pasted the Declaration of Independence, because that long thing that Dee Dee just read, if you don't know, is the Declaration of Independence. They put that in. And so I believe, obviously, it was very intentional.
Absolutely.
For them to put a founding document to remind the majority and everyone else that as a people, we have the right and the responsibility to remove a government that does not serve the people. Yeah. And this is not because of what the Black Panthers wanted or communists or black people or other groups. This is what our founding fathers said, is that if the government has a long train of abuses, if it is denying the rights of man, they must be removed. It is actually, the language is in there. It is our duty and responsibility to do such. So I didn't know that until recently. And I was like, that's the way to end a document. Put it back in their face. Yeah. Because that is essentially what we deal with when we say, if we're going to have a democracy, we should have it. If we're gonna,
this what y'all said.
This is what y'all said. It won't us. This is your document. Right. Y'all wrote it. Right. And it has to apply to all of us. So it's so much to go through. So kind of going through those points. We want freedom. We want the power to determine the destiny of Black community. Self-determination is such a important principle in liberation. And that's just true of anyone on an individual level and a collective level. Right. Everyone should have the ability to determine what they want and to not, there no obstructions in pursuing that. Yeah. The full employment of our people.
Or guaranteed income.
Right.
Which I feel like is really, it's not new what they're asking for too. A lot of the influence that they have is in Marxism. A lot of them identified as Marxist-Leninists, very left politics, and at a very young age. Yes. Much of the points in the 10-point program are with this idea around an ideal society that may be possible in this country.
An anti-capitalist society. Right. That with capitalism, essentially, what you have, the quality of life you have, is determined by how much you can produce. And that is something that goes against communism, Marxism, that you don't have to, the quality of your life is not determined by how valuable you can be in a workforce. Right. The end to the robbery by the capitalists of our Black community, that once again kind of ties in. I did not know. They said 40 acres and 2 mules.
Not one,
2. I'm glad I know that, because we'll definitely have an episode on reparations. We have to. Yeah. And, he said, obviously we will accept the payment in currency. He was specific. In currency. Right. That will be distributed to our many communities. But at this point, give me the 40 acres and you better have 2 mules sitting on it.
Why not? Why you don't have that?
And preferably a male and female mule so I can breed them. Yeah. I don't know how, but we'll figure it out when we get there.
I definitely don't know how.
Somebody, we talked about in the first episode, we need everybody. Scientists, agriculturists. We
need veterinarians, clearly.
What are we going to do with all these mules? Right. Decent housing, fit for the shelter of human beings. Once again, housing is a human right. Quality housing is a human right. And they said that if the landlords won't do it, we should take it from them and turn the land into cooperatives so that our community and our government can build something decent. Education, obviously, the more you know.
Yeah. I mean, they really were about, knowledge being power. Like,
yes.
There were accounts of people, Black people in the community, like in Oakland or different parts of California, literally learning how to read by joining the Black Panther Party because it was mandatory.
Had to read. I think I read somewhere that they recommended 2 hours of reading a day.
Yeah.
To learn. And then we want all Black men to be exempt from military service. Keep in mind, during this time, the Vietnam War was...
in the draft.
Yeah, the draft was going on. And we all know, or Muhammad Ali famously chose not to be drafted and to have to fight it. And he was criminally convicted, I believe, for that position.
Yeah.
But as a party, they were saying, we're not going to be drafted into these wars to go across the world, one, and die 9 times out of 10.
Right.
Because Vietnam kicked our ass.
Yeah.
And 2, to go and kill other oppressed people of the world. So the Black Panther Party were internationalists. And they believed in not looking at issues as a black and white thing, but about oppression. And they saw the global oppression under the system of capitalism. So you're not drafting our men to go fight and kill other people who are essentially in the same position that we are.
Yeah. And also at this time they were witnessing, once people came back from the war, they didn't have any resources. They didn't have the recognition, and a lot of, especially Black men that were going to the military, coming back and being completely harassed and brutalized.
And that happened a lot after World War II. And this is just 21 years after the end of World War II, where Black servicemen were coming back and being lynched.
Yeah.
Because they had on a uniform.
Yeah.
After they fought, came back, and some toothless motherfucker in Alabama was like, boy, what you doing with that suit on?
Right. Yeah.
And so no more of that.
Yeah. And that one is really, controversial because it's also in the fabric of this country, of the way that it was even constituted was through people being in the military, young people being in the military, Black people being in the military. And, to put out, and at this time there was a huge anti-war movement that was also happening, very lively, led by young people and students generally, and really condemning the war, but they were condemning military service as a whole. Yeah, not just the war.
And I still agree.
I'm not mad at it.
No more new enlistments.
Yeah.
Because your commander-in-chief right now is Trump.
Yeah, right.
I'd be damned if I signed up under that motherfucker.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
My father was a veteran, and he was at the VA and eventually passed there. And I remember when he passed, they took us in the family service room, and they were like, we offer pretty much a generic letter from the commander-in-chief. My dad died in 2017. My family collectively all at once was like, no, we good on that.
Right.
You can give us the flag. They gave us, they have a little package.
Right.
But they were like, would you like a letter signed by? Absolutely
the fuck
not.
not.
Keep that shit.
No, thank you.
And his picture, as soon as you came in the VA, was his old ugly ass picture. And I'm like, I got to do something with that. Number 7, we want an immediate end to police brutality and the murder of Black people. Obviously, the call still
rings true
today.
Literally.
Well, like I say, we mentioned that they were originally the Black Panther Party for self-defense. And then they did at some point find it necessary to change that narrative because the mainstream media took the narrative is that, once again, that they were an anti-police force.
Right.
And they simply were doing patrols. A lot of it was not about them wanting to engage in shootouts with the police.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're patrolling our neighborhood, how about we patrol you and make sure everything's good? Because there were no cameras. Nobody could pull out a cell phone and say, this is what happened, and submit it to the district attorney or the SBI. So, yeah, we wanted immediate end to that. And they pretty much brought up, once again, the Second Amendment to the Constitution. We all have the right to bear arms, and they encourage Black people to bear arms to protect themselves.
Right.
Freedom for all Black men held in federal, state, county, and city prisons and jails. And it kind of ties into number 9, which essentially is that they're demanding that Black people have a fair trial. And because of the lack of fair trials that still to this day we do not get, and particularly during that time, that we need to release everybody because their constitutional rights were violated, even being sentenced and placed into prisons.
Right.
And then number 10, they just broke it down. We want land, we want bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, peace. Sums it all up. So what's important that came out of this 10-point program, as we mentioned, were their survival programs. And the Black Panther Party created over 60 programs nationwide that met the direct needs of their communities.
2 of which still exist. As of 2016. One is in Portland, one is in Seattle.
And the legacy of their programs actually still exists. Their programs actually, but they've been co-opted in a positive way. And we'll talk about that, is that you don't realize that the free lunch programs in schools was inspired by the Black Panther Party.
Right. Yeah. The government wasn't feeding children in schools.
And they're trying to go back to not doing so.
Yeah. They literally, there wasn't any breakfast. There was no lunch.
You come and you starve and you're supposed to learn somehow. Guaranteed income became something that helped influence at least having unemployment benefits.
Yeah.
The Afeni Shakur, who is the mother of Tupac Shakur, she helped draft the first patient Bill of Rights at Lincoln and Harlem hospitals. And this was later adopted by all hospital systems, that patients do have a Bill of Rights to ensure them a certain dignity and clarity. So, you know, the early version of the patient Bill of Rights emphasized the right to be considerate and provide respectful care. The right to understand one's diagnosis and treatment options, the right to make decisions about one's care, and the right to refuse treatment when legally permissible. And so this was something that the Panthers did because a lot of Black people were going into hospitals and they were not being given all the knowledge that they needed, appropriate treatment plans. And Afeni specifically advocated around sickle cell awareness, and the Black Panther Party was the first organization to offer free sickle cell anemia testing. And so many other programs came from it. Just to name a few of the 60, I mean, they did everything from just drama classes, free ambulance programs. So that's another thing.
Which the concept of the ambulance in this country was created by Black people.
Exactly.
Because how else was the cities, especially during the Jim Crow laws, going to respond to emergencies? They weren't going to come. They're not going to come. And so Black people created mobile clinics, essentially, which then grew to be able to respond to, the rapid moments, these emergency moments, and provide that care to the communities directly.
Yeah. They had free health clinics. That was one of the big things that they had. The free breakfast for children program was probably their most popular program, and I believe it was a requirement for every chapter to at least have a free breakfast program and a health clinic, free health clinic. They provided free furniture programs. So helping people get beds, couches, things for their homes. They had maintenance and pest control programs. A lot of people who were in inner city projects dealing with rodents in their home, landlords who were not addressing it. They had nutrition classes, free shoe programs, food cooperative programs, film series, pediatric clinics,
martial arts,
tutoring programs, legal aid and education. And this is just all to name a few of the programs that they had. What I love that when I was reading Huey P. Newton's writings is that he was saying that the survival programs were just that, that it was about survival until the revolution. And that these programs were not the solution to our problems. They were solutions to some of the immediate needs of the people, but they were not the overall solutions. But it was almost like a survival kit when you're lost at sea. Until you can get to where you need to be, that the revolution may carry you to, there was this need to take care of the people, because how can you recruit the people, free the people if you're not actually meeting their daily needs?
Right. And a lot of this service and these programs were started by the women of the Black Panther Party.
Because who else would feed the babies?
And in particular, these wasn't, again, all of these programs were part of the 10-point program. So the 10-point program being their larger plan, and this is how they saw really executing and making more possible their 10-point plan. They didn't let the people come to them. They actually went out and did the sickle cell testing. They would go to high schools and colleges and go directly, or just walk around the community, door knocking, asking about people's needs. When people would come to collect their food from the free food program, they would also talk about other needs, that there wasn't enough acknowledgement or protection or safety for the elderly in the community. And so they built a program where the kids that were coming to get breakfast or lunch or dinner could be matched and paired with an elderly person to walk with them to the bank, or walk with them to the store, or help them get their groceries
so
up,
that they weren't robbed or anything.
Right. Exactly.
They had free STD testing.
This is the 60s, 70s that we're talking about. So incredibly progressive, very visionary, and voluntary. All of this was voluntary. They fed thousands of kids every day.
Every single
breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. Thousands of kids. There's no way that can be done without a shift happening in your heart and mind that tells you this is what you need to be doing.
Yeah. I like that you mentioned about how they went to the people. They knocked on the doors, because as I was reading in an essay Huey wrote in 1971, where he was talking about pretty much that shift of bringing the party back to what it was originally founded upon, and that they had kind of drifted from that and being caught up in this self-defense side of things. And so he was saying that when him and Bobby were in college, they were tired of what he called armchair philosophers who analyzed the conditions but didn't act. And that was what inspired them to create the party, because they're listening to all of this great analysis, which was very important. The theory, like them studying communism, Karl Marx and Lenin. But they were saying we have to actually transform that into action. And so meeting the people where they were, going to the people, spreading the word. And Elaine Brown, who was at one point the only female leader of the party, while Huey essentially had skipped bail and fled the country. I think he was in Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
But she wrote in an article or essay pretty much saying that when the FBI deemed the Black Panther Party the most dangerous threat to America, it wasn't when they were all about the guns and the self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
It was when they were executing these survival programs or their 10-point program.
Yep.
Because she said what the people were seeing was how they served the community and they were anti-capitalist.
Mm-hmm.
And people started to say, well, wait a minute, they're providing free food, they're providing free health care, they're providing legal assistance, all of these things, and our government isn't doing shit for us.
Right.
And really the party's programs were a major threat to how people viewed capitalism and communism.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is when J. Edgar Hoover, I was about to start cussing his ass. That is when he said, wait a minute, we have to dismantle this party.
Right.
Because the people are starting to see how little the government does for them and how much the people do for them.
Right.
And so that is when the real danger began for the party. But it once again shows that really meeting the needs and serving people is the last thing the government wants to do.
Right.
And the government had to adopt some of their policies, their programs, to kind of say, okay, all right, we can serve the people in these ways. And it's a fight still to this day because, as we mentioned, they're trying to defund feeding children.
Yeah. And education.
And
healthcare.
And housing. And no affordable, everything right now is they're backtracking.
Right. And again, the Black Panther Party was founded in the 60s when this is also during the civil rights movement. And they were in conversation with the civil rights movement, but they were building something a little that would continue the work, but come in with a different type of approach.
Yeah. And
some of these things organizations in the civil rights movement did do. And the Black Panther Party, because of its growth and because of its very visceral launch into society and into the news with, men mostly wearing all black, and they, the media was able to deem them immediately as a threat and acted as so.
Yeah.
I mean, till this day, H. Rap Brown is still incarcerated.
A lot of the political prisoners,
many of them,
were Panthers.
Yeah.
And they were very inspired by the civil rights movement. They were very inspired by Malcolm X, who was assassinated the year before in 1965. But they did want to do more than just, in a way, the way that their political analysis of the civil rights movement was that it was not revolutionary enough because of not dismantling capitalism. And they saw a lot of the work of the civil rights movement as being a way to integrate us and to work through perhaps the Democratic Party at that time to establish certain rights. But they were saying, once again, they were very visionary. We are part of an international struggle against oppression, and there has to be more to do than just to politically advocate through the Democratic Party to have liberation under capitalism, which does not exist. And so that was why they were so keen in their analysis about it. And anybody that comes against capitalism is a dead man or woman, particularly during these times. A lot of people will let you know. I actually had the pleasure of going to see Elaine Brown speak at my university on MLK Day.
Nice.
And she was talking about how white people love the I Have a Dream version of Martin Luther King. Now, granted, white people hated him in general, but they preferred that version of him. But it wasn't until he started working on the Poor People's Campaign that they were like, and that's enough of that.
Yeah.
And he was soon assassinated. And the reason that he was in Tennessee at the time when he was assassinated, I believe, was to join
the sanitation
workers to help talk about fair wages. And Martin Luther King, if you read a lot of his essays and writings, he was starting to kind of move away and becoming more quote unquote radicalized, but really seeing this international problem that was rooted in capitalism. And so that's when he was gone. And so they knew we have to root our politics in something more than just making strides in the legislative branch and the executive branch and in the courts. We have to be a part of an international struggle that liberates the people, but primarily serves the people as well.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I was reading one of my core books for my political thinking, which is The Political Process and the Development of Black Insurgency from 1930 to 1970. Ooh. And there is a chapter that talks about the decline of Black insurgency in the years 1966, which is the same year Black Panther Party was founded, to 1970. And in the book, there's a table that indicates the distribution of all events initiated by federal officials or national political candidates in the 60s. And it's the graph is really split into what are the events initiated by federal officials that was around pro-integration, pro-Black power, anti-integration, and anti-Black power. Through this graph, which is taken through the New York Times, the number one event that was initiated by federal officials throughout those years was pro-integration. But the second most events initiated by federal officials was anti-Black power initiatives. And they actually increase in those later years of the 60s, from 1966 to 70. So, for example, whereas from 1961 to 1965, the federal officials only initiated 2 anti-Black power events. Between the years of 1966 to 1970, there were 24. And so just overall, the increase of initiatives by the federal government in the name of anti-Black power is in the numbers. This is just the facts. These are not data. These are not conspiracies at all. The data is actually in a lot of these books, and how vast the COINTEL program was when it started, and also till now, to still exists. Assata Shakur is still on the most wanted list, on FBI's most wanted list.
Obama didn't take her off.
I mean, like, she's still on there. And so it just articulates and really illustrates the significance of those young people. The median age of a member of the Black Panther Party was 19 years old.
Fred Hampton was 21 when he was assassinated.
These are young people.
A child.
Organizing 60 volunteer-led programs. And again, mostly women. 70%, there was, at the Black Panther Party's peak, the membership was 70% women.
Yeah. And when Elaine Brown, her book is called A Taste of Power, A Black Woman's Story. She talks about when Huey skipped bail, they knew it was going to happen. He had a string of legal troubles, and the party had to put a lot of money to continue to bail him out. And she tells the incident where they literally got all this money, bailed him out, and the police rearrested him in the lobby for another charge. So when they got him out for that, he knew, I got to get out of town. And the party is nervous at this point.
Yeah.
And she's in this like bar or someplace that they pretty much owned or frequented. It might have been their office. And they get a call, and it was Huey. He asked for her to be put on the phone, and he's like, "You're the only person I trust with my party." And she's like, "What?" Because even though the numbers were there for the women, it was still, patriarchy is still alive and well. And she's like, how am I going to command the party on a national level?
Right.
And he was like, you got to do it. Pretty much hung up. It's just like, okay. And so I think she kind of was like, his bodyguard was with her, like, make sure a man hears this, because this is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
And she had that first meeting where they called people from the chapters throughout the country to come. And, she had the bodyguard on stage with the gun and stuff. Like, first off, I'm the biggest boss that you've seen thus far. It's me. And she had her struggles with it. But it's telling that of all the people that Huey could have called upon, he trusted Elaine, rightfully so, who had been organizing with him, who ran for political office, to lead the party in such a crucial time when really the COINTELPRO was full force against them, and he was out of the country really with no concrete plan of when to come back or when he was going to be able to come back. And like I say, women were always, we talked about this in the Black feminism episode, we are not just a backstory in these movements. We are the bones of it, the foundation of it. Who's more organized and really thinking about the direct needs of the people than women? Who was cooking the meals? Right. So I do, and there was a lot of leadership within the party that was around women as well. What I find to be so important about understanding their legacy is that we can still honor it in so many ways. And these programs really were designed to, like say, obviously meet the needs of the people. But when people are fed, when they're safe, when they're educated, they're in a position to lend themselves more to struggle. Because they're not literally waking up that day worrying about their basic survival for that day. And that is what is a part of what's happening at a national level by the current regime. They are attempting to make people be at the brink of starvation, of homelessness.
I mean, not even attempting. The people in Gaza are starving. And starvation is a tool used in warfare. And so what they're doing right now is trying to have people so desperate to just make it through the day that they cannot lend themselves towards their own liberation and to fighting. And the party understood that, the people have to be cared for to be able to sit down for 2 hours a day and read. They need a home with lights and a chair and a bed and food in their bellies and their children cared for and health care to be able to do these things. So understand that everything that's going on right now is like, why dismantle the Department of Education? Why get ready to garnish people's wages who are in default from student loans? Why do all of these things? They're very intentional acts to get the people so desperate that we need the government essentially for services that they're not trying to give us anymore. And having the 10-point program behind them as their foundation, as their guiding kind of North Star for what they really envision for this society, and really believing that the revolution would also come. Like a lot of things that I've read and seen on different documentaries and things like that are around the year 1968, in particular being this significantly monumental year for the country, but also for the movements that were happening in that year. That's the same year MLK was assassinated, which sparked riots throughout the entire country.
I believe Robert Kennedy was also assassinated later that year.
Yeah, Robert Kennedy was assassinated that year while he was running for president. During the Democratic primary in particular of 1968, Lyndon Johnson announced that he wasn't going to run anymore. The anti-war movement, the Democratic National Convention in Chicago was also that year. That was
the one that Fannie Lou Hamer did her infamous address.
It was the same one, Fannie Lou Hamer. And then inside, just the amount of fights, tussles. There was a lot of anti-war activists inside of the Democratic National Convention that year, and on the outside being completely brutalized by the police and the National Guard that was called into Chicago by the mayor at that time to try to maintain some order. But obviously it backfired when there's hundreds of people that have been injured and many, many deaths actually happened in those days.
When was Kent State? That might have been a little bit later, maybe the 70s.
I think I think that was in the 70s.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was a part of that anti-war protest.
Yeah. And so, just thinking about those years, it was just a significant year in this country. And it was one of the years that a lot of the young people were really protesting and marching and walking out. Riots and looting fires was happening across the country. Just a moment of excitement and opportunity, but also a lot of regression and a lot of pushback from the government and the administration at that time.
Which I'm sure was a major recruitment tool for the Black Panther Party, because so much was going on. And people were looking, I think like today, they were looking to fight. They were looking to resist. And the Panthers had such a aesthetic and a presence because they were literally in the community serving people, especially in these urban communities. Yeah. And so people could walk out and see them feeding children, them escorting elderly people, doing these things. And so it was very easy to see the action of the party, which and For the People by Huey P. Newton. He writes a lot about how people have to see the revolutionary actions happening. Right. And then you can bring people in to kind of awaken them with analysis and learning about Marxism and stuff, but they actually have to see you serving the people. Exactly. That is the easiest way to bring the masses in. Right. And so, Elaine Brown wrote about it, and I think a lot of people just are obviously looking at that kind of golden era. Yeah. Wrote about how a lot of organizations since that time have failed to really create their own 10-point program or to adapt it in a way that meets the times now and to serve the people, essentially. Yeah. Especially considering the amount of resources that are out here. The Panthers did not make it a secret that they were funded by white philanthropists, humanitarians, a lot of grants, foundations were funding them. Yeah. And they felt like rightfully so, run us the money. Exactly. And there's a lot of resources now. Well, the resources are under threat right now. Yeah. 100%. In the current regime. But, seeing organizations take the resources that they're getting and investing it directly in the community is the biggest recruitment tool you're going to have in movement building. And so these young people, once again, were just extremely visionary and ahead of their time. Yeah. And there's always been these efforts. Like Black people, we've always taken care of ourselves.
Yeah.
We've always built community, especially prior to the 1960s.
Right.
We had to, because we were legally segregated. We had to have our own doctors. We had to have our own teachers. We had to have our own things. But what was happening is that as we tried to build these communities after the Reconstruction era, they were always under attack.
Right.
And so the Panthers picked up that call to say, after the Tulsa massacre, these communities have been destroyed. We can build again. But in their analysis, they were very direct to say, we don't want Black capitalism.
Right. Exactly.
We don't just want the housing to be owned by Black people.
Right.
We don't just want the health clinic to be owned and operated by Black people.
Right.
But we want to sustain ourselves and it not be about turning ourselves into pretty much a mirror of white capitalists that come into the community and exploit, and it's all about profit over people. Yeah. And so he did say that, there are some exceptions for like small Black capitalists. And he's like, he basically came back in his article and said, like, before I was very critical of Black capitalism. And he was like, now I can understand its usefulness and how they respond in the community, but ultimately capitalism will not serve us in the long run.
It has to go.
I think once again that goes back to what he was saying, that the survival programs will carry us through the revolution. So it's not the ultimate solution, but it is what we need to survive in the meantime. Yeah. And so one thing we want you all to think about, and we're constantly thinking about, is what programs do we need, especially in the face of the government defunding everything? Yeah. To have in our own communities. And we're seeing it. Here in Durham, we've got North Star Church of the Arts that was defunded. And so
the Pauli Murray Center.
So now the community is having to step up, donate, and say, you know what, we can still have these things without federal grants. Yeah. And, we can't be dependent on them. Yeah. To serve us.
And I think what the 10-point program also is doing, like you've already highlighted this, but really challenging racial capitalism, not just the racism of the country. They don't say in their 10-point program about full integration or being treated like white people. That's not what they say. They really try to address the issue of poverty, the lack of access, the constant imprisonment and criminalization of Black people is really what they are highlighting in their challenge to the state.
Yeah. And any leader that we look to from the past and that may still be alive with admiration, they were 9 times out of 10 a socialist or a communist. And obviously there's been major efforts to suppress any information about what communism is, to study if you don't know who Karl Marx is, it is intentional that you do not know who Karl Marx is, and much about the Communist Manifesto. You don't know who Lenin is. It is very intentional that you don't know about these figures. But if you look at Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, members of the Black Panther Party, members of SNCC, all of these groundbreaking organizations, they all had a very keen analysis about capitalism. And so going back to episode 3, if you haven't listened to it, please do. If you've listened to it, go re-listen to it. And there's so much more to talk about when we talk about capitalism, but it creates this common thread, not just in Black communities, but throughout the world, throughout the global South. What we see in Gaza is a part of capitalism and colonialism, which are intricately tied to each other. And so if you haven't done so, you need to go read what they were reading.
Right. I mean, and what's unfortunate, I think, for our generation, the millennial generation, is that we are growing up in the post Black Power movement, post anti-war movements, both around Vietnam, but also around Iraq. That there was a movement that was an anti-war movement in the 2000s as well. And because of COINTELPRO, because of the government that's been in power since the 60s, we don't have as much access to those veterans of those movements. A lot of them are political prisoners, or a lot of them are tied to the academy, which isn't the most accessible place. And I've always, just as an organizer, been like, we're like, there's a few, but it doesn't feel like it's within the culture of the movement that we are consistently in conversation, in relationship, in the building of movements with those of the generations before us. There are pockets of it that exist for sure. I am closely, connected to some of the SNCC veterans that are still alive, around and organizing and speaking and sharing their stories and talking about organizing. There are a few of them, and I really crave a movement where it is just more intricately connected and consistent, of like, how did y'all run 60 volunteer programs of just so many different topics, like health, food, education, and finances, plumbing, and like maintenance, car shit, like all kind of stuff, along with running people for office and getting volunteers for that,
along with participating in international struggle. Like Huey was writing letters to people in Vietnam, right? Like, we will send soldiers. Yeah,
they were also getting correspondence from people outside of the continent to because of their newspaper. They had a newspaper that was also distributed across the country. This was all volunteer work. How the hell did y'all do that? And there isn't really enough of them around to really collect tangibly, technically. What did y'all do?
I think, one, I learned a lot through the Dear Mama documentary about Tupac and Afeni Shakur. And, I always knew Tupac's mom was a Black Panther. He made that evident in the Dear Mama song at the beginning, talked about how she was incarcerated. And she actually led the defense, her own defense, to get herself free at 8 months pregnant, and her comrades free as well. Period. She was the legal counsel.
Period.
And I learned so much more about Afeni Shakur and had so much more respect. But what I really didn't ever think about was what the Panthers went through once COINTELPRO was essentially successful, had assassinated a lot of their leadership, locked up a lot of their leadership, or had a lot of their leadership in exile. Is that the people who were here, they were harassed, they were stalked. Tupac talked about how FBI agents followed him to school when he was less than 10 years old, asking him about his mom, who at this point was not active anymore. She became addicted to drugs because of the trauma of being stalked and shot at and harassed and all these incarcerated. And so a lot of Panthers, I think, even Huey himself towards the end of his life, were addicted to drugs. It took its toll on them. And so there was just a whole slew of people who coming out of the 60s, and like I said, there was a big boom going into the 70s, or not big boom going into the 70s, but heroin was an issue. Then the 80s came, and crack. And that is, I believe, what Afeni Shakur was addicted to, or became addicted to. And so we lost a lot of people just due to the trauma of coming out of that.
Yeah.
And so
state-sanctioned violence.
And just being a part of the organization, because one thing about the Panthers, they were amazing, but there were major problems within the party that developed over time.
Yeah.
And this was not just all because of their fault. These were, COINTELPRO, part of it was a lot of infiltrating, misinformation. I read about 2 of the earliest Panthers to die in a shooting were essentially because the feds fed another organization and them false information about each other. And they got in an argument at a forum and there was a shootout. And so where it was the government then actually killed them, they planted the seeds of discourse to cause this conflict. And so that was happening, but the party had a lot of major problems, and so people were honestly burnt out from being a part of organizations or being a part of this particular organization because of how chauvinistic it got. And some of the women, it was abuse. Elaine Brown even talked about how she was having a normal conversation with Huey and he smacked her for no reason. It was the cocaine. He was losing it. And so we lost a lot of leadership just from the trauma of what they were going through. And then I think that there's something about the previous generation that kind of like post-traumatic slave disorder, like a lot of the people who were enslaved and gained their freedom, they didn't want to talk about it. It was so much that they went through. They just were looking for their new opportunity. And so their children and grandchildren, they really didn't share a lot of their stories and their knowledge because of that trauma. They just tucked it away as, I was in an organization in my 20s and it was kind of rowdy. And then you go back and you're like, Grandma, you were a Panther? And it's like, oh yeah, but she may not want to talk about some of the things from that era. Yeah,
of course.
It's been to the detriment of current movements to not have that wealth of knowledge from our elders.
Which is what they want. That is what they want. They want conformity. They want agreement. They want patriotism. And
should I sing it? Proud to be. I've done that the last 3 episodes. Proud to be American.
I mean, all of that is actually what, even currently, not even just back then, but currently with also in 1968 was the Olympic, I guess it was a protest when they won, the 2 black men won the medals in sprinting, and they put up the black power fist with the black gloves on,
and their careers suffered.
They literally was banned from the Olympics forever, but they were students that went to school with members of the Black Panther Party. They weren't members themselves, but the influence that the Black Panther Party had at that time really nudged them forward to do this very significant protest, knowing that not just being able to go into the Olympics again, but their actual titles were on the line when they did that. Just the significance of the influence just continues. The legacy of the Black Panther Party and their 10-point program.
It's a good time to revive it. And, we talking about those years of like not having that leadership. I also, we talked about before how with integration and more black people being able to rise to the middle class, get these jobs at the Ford assembly line. And, as the black middle class grew, how we assimilated and kind of got absorbed into capitalism. And so right now with this regressive period that we're in, I think people the energy of the 60s feels like it's coming back around, where the oppression is so obvious.
It's ripe.
But that is actually now it's devastating things that are happening, but it creates the perfect storm for people to become radicalized.
Exactly.
When they see there are no resources left in their community, they can't go to college, they can't get health care, they can't get a home. That's when you start looking to say, who can I join to help me do something about it? And so I think now is a time for us to see the opportunity that we can build.
Yeah.
And like Dee Dee said on the last episode, through being organized. Yeah. And that's ultimately what they were. These 10 points came from an organization that executed it to the T. And so now is the time that we can pick back up these programs and incorporate it into, you know, if you're already in a social justice organization, which plenty of them do have similar tenets from the legacy. Exactly. But now is the time more than ever to serve the people and to learn. Yeah.
And again, holding true that the racial capitalist patriarchal system that we live under has to be, the challenge of that has to be as part of the programs. Like, it isn't just
take care, like feed people.
Yeah, it isn't just to feel better, which I think people should feel better in general, for sure. But that is not the purpose of these programs. It is to move and be in the practice of community and challenging the racial capitalist patriarchal system that we live under. We got a lot to do. I mean, we got plenty to do. Plenty to do.
And, you know, this was a brief analysis of their 10-point program. There's so much more you can learn about the Black Panther Party. So many great leaders from it. And like I say, some of them are still alive. Yeah. And so, but now is the time. And also, this episode is coming out a couple of days before Black August. And Black August was also founded in those Black Power years, with the influence of the Soledad brothers and the many other historical moments that have happened in August. But the fight for freeing political prisoners is a huge part of the Black August. Yeah. And so Black August is the opportunity for you as a listener to get more disciplined and more active about the change that you want to see in our society. August is the time. It's our month.
It's like the Ramadan for Black radicals in this country. It's where you pause, you fast, you study, you train, you're learning about history and Black history and as a lineage.
Yeah, and more in the radical tradition of it. You know, Black History Month, that goes from, that's everybody.
It's anything
and everybody. But
which we love.
Yes. Oh,
shout out to Black History Month.
It's all year.
We need a longer month.
As
Whitney Houston said.
Okay, the great. And so Black August is another opportunity for us to, like I said, connect with the analysis, but like Huey said, not to be an armchair philosopher, and to think about what does that knowledge propel you to do.
Right. We have, speaking of where else you can find lots of information and context, Brittany, what books did you bring with you today?
So I brought To Die for the People. I think I bring that every time.
Literally, you do. I stopped linking it because I was like, it's literally already on 2 episodes.
It's there. I probably use it for every episode. But it's such an amazing book because it's the words of Huey P. Newton, and it's different essays. So he's in different essays over the course of years where he's talking about international struggles, the 10-point program, women and queer liberation within the party. So it's so many things that he covers in it. So I will always preach to die for the people. And then I have Elaine Brown book, A Taste of Power, Black Woman's Story. And then I also have a book that my mommy just got me called Freedom. That's it, Freedom. But it's pretty much about the Black Panther Party. And it's a very light read. It kind of hits you almost with bullet points. It talks about Martin Luther King. It talks about Malcolm X and their influence. And it talks about different aspects of the party. She got it from the Smithsonian recently. So those are the 3 that I've bought with me. What you got?
Nice. I have Political Process and the Development of Black Insurgency, which I already mentioned, written by Doug McAdam, who also wrote Freedom Summer. And I have Angela Davis's book, Freedom is a Constant Struggle.
I almost brought it.
This one is good. It's like I've seen her speech, like I've seen her talk maybe twice, and so some of the things that she talks about in her speech is also mentioned here, but she also talks about Ferguson and Palestine and just movement in general. I also brought Marx in 90 Minutes, which is like a small, like pocket-sized little book that talks about who Karl Marx is, again, because of his work's influence. And how it influenced the Black Panther Party and some of the ways that they saw the future that they were trying to build and want to start a revolution. And this book is a book of basically small biographies of radical women in the Black freedom struggle. So highlighting more about Rosa Parks and Shirley Chisholm and Vicki Garvin, who I love. Obviously talking about Ella Baker, several women that I knew about and didn't know about. Shirley Du Bois, W.E.B. Du Bois's wife is highlighted here. So I'm still going through this book, but I feel like it's always one that I come back to for like learning about the movements. I'm a go-to, want to start a revolution first.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. And that's the thing about these books. You don't have to get it and read it cover to cover.
No.
You can dibble and dabble.
For sure.
But please have it accessible to you when you're ready to dibble and dabble. It's a learning.
Yeah.
So it's so much more to talk about. We could definitely have an episode just on the party itself outside of this program, and in coming episodes I'm sure we will. But go look up that 10-point program. Go read the Declaration of Independence, because it is a call to us right now.
Yeah.
And think about how, some of the programs you would like to imagine in your own community and programs that may already be out there. One thing I love about Durham, their food distribution programs, free food, you pick it up, no questions asked, quality food.
Yeah.
I don't go because I can afford groceries, but I do swipe. I'm like, these look good. And if I needed them, I wouldn't have no shame. I would roll down there and get it.
For sure.
So look for those programs. Maybe see how you can lend yourself voluntarily. To those things.
Yeah. And
big things coming.
All the things that Brittany said. And we do have a big announcement to make on our next episode.
Please keep it out.
I mean, generally, I'm excited about Black August. There's some type of fastings that I'm going to be doing during that month. And just excited to kind of study and talk more about abolition.
Yeah.
And reparations, like you already said.
Yeah. Rummy.
And history.
I'm excited about it's going to be the blackest August ever. Me and Dee Dee are going to make certain of that.
No, 100%.
Yeah. I might fast a little bit too. I never have.
Yeah.
So I'm down to give up something.
Okay.
I ain't doing it for Lent, but I'll do it for Black August.
Right. Thank y'all so much for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, comment,
Hit us up.
message us,
Yeah.
send us your questions.
Send me a voice note.
Send me a voice note. I like a little voice note.
I like a voice.
I love a voice note, actually.
All this screen time is killing my eyes. So send your thoughts, because sometimes it's like, man, I really want to say something, but do I feel like really typing out my points and blah, blah, blah? Just go ahead and hit that speaker button, the little microphone button.
Yeah, that works.
And you can yap, you can ramble a little bit. I'll pick up on the message.
Yeah. No, but we appreciate all of the communication, questions, challenges that we've gotten over the past few weeks. So keep them coming. It really strengthens our work and what we want to talk about and address. So just really huge thank you to everyone that has been engaging with us in different ways and sharing our podcasts.
Absolutely.
Until next time, all power to the people.
All power to the people.